In this video, we're going to look at conic translations. And so there's a couple things we need to look at. First thing we're going to look at are these are all the basic equations for the different conic sections. And if you'll notice, each one of them, the formulas contain subtraction. My x minus my h, my y minus my k, x minus h, x minus h. You'll see the subtraction over and over again. And something else that we have to look at that might seem a little simple is we need to learn which axis does which movement and based on what operation. So if I want to move left or right, that's the x-axis. If I move right, I'm moving towards positive numbers. So I would add if I want to move right. Now to move left, I'm moving towards negative numbers. So that would be subtraction. My y-axis is my up-down movement. To move up, I would add. And to move down, I would subtract. Down, I would subtract. So let's look at the equation here. I have x minus 5 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 4. And they want me to move it 3 to the right and 5 up. Okay? So what's important, remember I told you about that subtraction before? The subtraction is part of the formula. It is not attached to the number in this case. So this is not a negative 5. This is actually a positive 5. So to move it to the right, I'm going to add 3. So 5 plus 3 is 8. So then my equation becomes x minus 8 squared. Now let's look at moving 5 up. The up down is my y variable. Now, if you'll notice here, this is now switched to addition, but the formula is subtraction. The only way that could happen is if I had y minus a negative 3, because a double negative makes addition. So to move up 5, I'm going to add 5. So negative 3 plus 5 equals 2. So my k is now 2, so y minus 2 squared. So that might seem a little complicated. Keep looking at the formula. So another way to do it is when we do translations, this might make more sense to you, is to do the opposite. So that by that I mean if I want to move down, I'm going to add. If I want to move up, I'm going to subtract. So let's look at this another way. So using the other way where I changed the operations of the direction, in this case I had x minus 5 and I want to move right 3. So instead of adding 3, I'm going to do the opposite because it's a translation, and I'm going to subtract 3. And negative 5 minus 3 is negative 8. That way your sign, you're always correct with your sign. So for some of you, this might be a better approach. Now, we said 5 up is now really a minus 5. So positive 3 minus 5 equals negative 2, which is what I have down here. You need to look at the different approaches and decide which works best for you. Okay, let's look at another equation. I have an equation of let's see, it's addition, so this is an ellipse. So I have the equation of an ellipse, and I want to do the same thing. I want to move it right 3 and up 5. So to go right 3, I'm going to do remember, this is a positive 3, so I'm going to add 3, which makes this 6. So x minus 6. Okay? And then this was really a negative 3, and negative 3 plus 5 is positive 2, which is y minus 2. And there we have the translation. Now, if you did the other approach, remember, just swap. So instead of right being positive and left being negative, if I had done the minus 3, that means that my parenthesis sign will be correct. Some students might have to do that. Okay, now I'm looking at this equation, and this one might look a little challenging at first. This is actually a parabola, which you did in algebra. In order to translate a parabola, we need to have the equation. This is missing some of the pieces because this is an equation in standard position, meaning that my vertex is at 0, 0. Okay, so my vertex is 0, 0. I want to move right 3, up 5, which means my vertex is now going to be at positive 3, 5. Using the parabola formula, and now with my new vertex, I can simply substitute in. If you remember that HK represents my vertex. My new vertex is 3, 5, so my equation is y equals 4, because A is my lead coefficient. My lead coefficient was 4 in this equation. X minus 3 squared plus 5. And there you have it. I've now translated this equation, right 3 and up 5. I hope this helps.